One of the things I've changed is my water filtration system. First thing I got was this Outback Boda something or other. Anyway, it was really inexpensive and cheap, and it worked. So from that standpoint, this was really good. I don't have the filter anymore, but how this thing worked is the filter would actually sit in the top here. So you just fill up your bottle, you got your filter, put your lid on, and you can drink straight out of it. Now, unless you had Herculean strength, this thing was kind of a pain to use. But again, it was cheap, it worked, and you know what, that got me by for the first little while. Now, going with multiple people, going with my kids, excuse me, the Katadyn Hiker, this has been excellent, and it's so much easier to use than this type of filtration system. So I upgraded to this one, and I haven't looked back. Glad I did. I don't have an example of a water bladder on the table, but I still have them, and they are very convenient, especially when hiking. It's nice to have that hose just right there in place, and you can get a couple sips of water. So for that reason, I really like them. But again, for coming home and managing them and cleaning them, to me, it's just one more thing to clean. So it's just a little bit of my style there, my philosophy. So I went to more of a Nalgene bottle, which is nice because then you can just come home, throw it in the dishwasher, you're done. But even since then, I noticed myself not taking the Nalgene bottles so much and just going straight with these plastic water bottles. And the advantage I have really seen and liked over the Nalgene bottle is the weight. The weight on this guy is 6 3/8 ounce, where this plastic bottle is 3/8 ounce. So if you put two of them here to equal the same amount of water, you get about 3/4 of an ounce versus 6 3 ounce. So pretty big difference there. Just to throw in another one, this guy is pretty light without the filter in there. This is 3 and about 5/8 ounce. So they're, a little bit different, but you can see how much lighter weight this is than the Nalgene bottle. Now when I get home, I've just put these in the recycle bin and we're good to go. Another aspect I like about these is I can store smaller amounts of water in different areas of my system. For example, most of the time I have cargo pockets, and I can stick maybe one in a cargo pocket, I can stick one in a ribs pack, so I can kind of diversify that water, which I find sometimes comes in handy as opposed to just one big container or a big 2-liter water bladder. Another aspect of these I found when often I'll go to a base camp and then I'll go hit a peak somewhere. So I take a bunch of these with me. When I'm done, they collapse and they take up a lot less room in my pack, in my pocket, in my ribs front pack. And then when I get back, you can just blow down in them, reinflate them, so to speak, and then it's good to go again. Paracord, that is about 100 feet worth of paracord. And what I have really found, and there's some pros and cons to this, but for me and my system, I've found that the pros outweigh the cons of getting rid of the 100 feet of paracord and going with smaller bundles of it. These are just examples. I don't have a real set system in place yet. I've been toying with the idea of coming up with one. But this one, for example, you can see it's a little beefier than these two. So this typically is my ridge line that I use to set up my tarp. And I like that a little bit longer, just gives me some flexibility. These smaller ones I found, they just come in real handy for lashing things to my backpack or lashing sticks together or a variety of things around camp. Also, if for whatever reason this doesn't span the space of trees that I need, with good knot tying skills, that's where I find this system comes in very handy as well, because you can join these two ropes and it's not a problem. If you don't have those skills, then I don't know, maybe something like this would be a little more suited to you, but I really like this. Also, what I've thought about doing is color coding these. So for example, this would be, let's say it's the OD green for my ridge line, but then for, I don't know, you got 12 feet and 6 feet lengths, then you could color code each of those so you knew exactly how how long each one of these were based on the color. I haven't got that sophisticated yet with my system, but maybe down the road. Little hard to see here, but this is the kind of your closed cell foam. I've upgraded these. These are nice because you can get them at Walmart for like $6. So they're really inexpensive. If they get tore up, it's not a big loss, and for that reason I like them. But to be honest with you, they're just not as comfortable. So what I have upgraded to now is, this is a Air Therm Arrest, and I just got back from a trip and I'm still drying out from all the mud and wet. It was a rainy one. But this is a lot more comfortable than this. This is more weight, so it's kind of going the opposite direction. However, with everything else I'm dropping, what I'm gaining here is a lot better sleep than using something like this. Now the trade-offs to this type of ground pad, as you can see right here, there's a lot more management that goes into trying to keep it so it doesn't get punctured by whatever's on the ground. But the last two that I wanted to talk about is a tent and a tarp. Again, this is more of a personal thing. I'll be releasing a video later on the pros and cons of each, as I was sitting under my tarp for 2.5 hours in the rain. My boys were trapped in the tent. But for me, it was really weight driven. You guys know, some of you may know, I've been having problems with my back. So if I want to keep doing this, I've got to start dropping the weight. And that was really the catalyst that drove me to a lot of this. And again, back to the tarp and tent. The tarp is so much lighter than it is the tent. So when I go out solo, that's generally what I will take. Again, look at the specifics of this video of what I've changed, but also think about it, like I keep saying, a more global perspective of how the philosophy here that I've got going might help you change or better your system that you're currently using. So thanks much, guys. Appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button, share it if you'd like, and subscribe if you haven't. We'll see you later.